Letters from the heart. Real voices, real marriages, real answers. Welcome to Letters from the Heart, a powerful and intimate series where real married individuals share the private letters they've written about the struggles, questions, and silent hopes inside their marriages. Here is our first letter. My husband of 30 years tells me he has feelings for someone he works for. He says he needs time to figure things out. Should I be waiting around to see if he chooses me? Or is this no longer the guy for me? Now, HQ's advice would be first, let me thank you for trusting this space with such a deeply painful and vulnerable moment. This kind of emotional betrayal, even if no physical affair has occurred, cuts deeply, especially after decades of shared life. First, know this one thing. You do not have to stay in limbo while someone else decides if you are worth choosing. You are not a backup plan. You are a whole human being, and your value isn't dependent on anyone else's confusion or indecision. When your husband of 30 years says he has feelings for someone else and needs time to figure things out, what he's actually doing is stepping outside of the emotional contract of your marriage while expecting you to remain faithful and emotionally available to him. That's not fair. Marriage isn't about being perfect, but it is about mutual respect and responsibility. And right now, he's asking you to sit still while he entertains the possibility of replacing the life you've built together. That's not love, that's selfishness, wrapped in the language of figuring it out. You have every right to ask, while he's taking time to think, who's protecting your heart? Who is standing up for your emotional safety? So, no, you don't have to wait for him to choose you. You start choosing yourself. That doesn't mean you file for divorce tomorrow, but it does mean you begin asking questions like, what do I need right now? What boundaries do I need in place while he's uncertain? You might say, while you figured yourself out, I need space too. I'm not going to sit in pain waiting to be picked. Whether this marriage survives or not, your healing, clarity, and strength are the priority. Get support from a therapist, a coach, a trusted friend. You're not weak for hurting. You're wise for not abandoning yourself in the process. And whatever happens, know this one thing. You deserve a love that doesn't hesitate to choose you. Letter number 2. So, my husband of 20 years was having an affair with a coworker, half my age. I found out after noticing telltale signs that he was up to something. I decided to stay with him and agreed to work things out. But holy smokes, it's hard. About 4 months into trying to piece our marriage back together, and I have to say, he acts as though nothing ever happened. Yet I'm the one struggling on a daily basis trying to keep myself together. Their text, her face, the spots they were going to just keep popping into my head, and it makes me physically sick. I'm not sure I'm ever going to get over this. I don't know how to trust him ever again. I want to, but something in the back of my mind tells me he'll do it again. I keep asking myself if things don't change, can I live with it? Wait until the years or months go by until he does it again, if he does it again. Has anyone that stayed with their cheating spouse gone through this? How do you get through it to redo your marriage? I say redo because I don't want the same marriage back. Obviously, he was unhappy, so I want to rebuild a better, happier marriage. I choose this man to be my everything, the person I confided in, trusted, and I loved with my entire soul. Through all of his downfalls, I stood by him, supported him, and then he does this? How does a person move on and grow from there? Well, thank you for sharing such a raw and honest letter. What you're experiencing is not just emotional pain, it's trauma. You are grieving not only the betrayal, but the loss of trust, the disruption of your reality, and the pain of loving someone who made a choice that deeply damaged your foundation. You've chosen to stay and try, which is an incredibly brave and generous act. But now you're left holding most of the emotional weight, and that imbalance is neither sustainable nor is it fair. To answer your question, yes, some couples do survive infidelity, but only when both people are willing to face the truth, do the work, and fully rebuild, not ignore. Right now, your husband is acting as if nothing happened, and that's one of the biggest problems. It shows a lack of emotional accountability. You can't rebuild trust if the person who broke it is pretending the wound doesn't exist. If he's not in therapy, he needs to be. If you're not in therapy, either alone or together, that needs to become a priority for you. Healing doesn't come from just moving on, it comes from sitting in the hard conversations, making room for your triggers, listening to your pain without defensiveness, and putting in consistent action to rebuild your trust. You are not crazy for feeling sick. You are not weak for struggling. You are a woman navigating trauma, and it's his job to actively participate in your healing if he truly wants to rebuild your marriage. Your instincts are also important here. That voice in the back of your mind, in the back of your head, that tingly sensation. What if he does it again? That's just not fear. That's wisdom. It's your inner self trying to protect you from blindly falling into the same dynamic. You don't want the old marriage back, and that's healthy. But a new marriage can only be built if both people are equally invested in creating it. So ask yourself this: is he doing the work? Is he uncomfortable? Is he confronting his choices and working daily to earn back your trust? If not, it's okay to reassess whether he's capable or worthy of this second chance you gave him. You can grow from this, but growth requires truth, consistency, and a hell of a lot of courage from both of you. You already have that courage. Now he needs to show whether he does too. Letter number 3. What scares me the most about marriage? How easy it is for love to become routine, mundane, for communication to break down, for trust to quietly erode without anyone noticing until it's too late. It's not the explosive fights that scare me, it's this: the silence, the apathy. Mm. This is a powerful and deeply honest reflection, and you're not alone in this fear. What you're describing is the quiet unraveling that can happen in marriages, the kind that doesn't announce itself with shouting or slammed doors or broken dishes, but with the slow fading of connection, the creeping in of distance, and the daily choice to avoid instead of engage. It's real and valid fear, because many relationships don't fall apart overnight. They dissolve gradually under the weight of what's left unsaid. And the truth is, silence can be far more dangerous than conflict fighting because it feels safe while it's quietly stealing the intimacy in your relationship. The antidote to this slow erosion is intentional presence, being present every day. That means choosing to talk even when it's uncomfortable, choosing to check in even when life is chaotic and busy, choosing to nurture the relationship, not just maintain it. What makes love grow stale isn't time, it's neglect. And the scary part is that neglect is easy. It's easy to stop dating your spouse. It's easy to assume they already know that you love them. It's easy to put kids, work, or survival ahead of connection. That's why strong marriages aren't built on grand gestures. They're built on consistent, small, deliberate acts of care, honesty, curiosity, and vulnerability. My advice is this: don't ignore the fear, use it. Let it be a wake up call. Let it push you to have conversations now while the embers are still warm. Ask your partner how they're feeling in the relationship. Be brave enough to say, I miss us, or I don't want to wake up one day and realize we stopped choosing each other. Choose each other. Marriage can survive silence, but only when someone is willing to break it. So break it with love, with truth, with honesty, with the courage that keeps love alive, even when routine tries to bury it. Letter number 4. While dating, my husband was sex positive and had no issue with the number of sex partners I had had in the past. He also knew that I had been in an abusive relationship and told me many times how nothing a woman could do could justify hitting her. He was so warm and gentle and kind. Then we got married, and suddenly I was a whore, 304, who didn't respect herself, had more sausage in me than a fat man at an all you can eat buffet. And I was cheating on him with a married coworker that I had met 2 weeks prior. I was weak for letting my ex beat me up. I was stupid for not leaving the first time it happened. He shouted at me for over an hour while I was stuck in the car with him that I deserved it for staying. It was my fault. I stayed married to him. God helped me, but I never really trusted him again after that, nor did I ever open up to him about anything really personal. Turns out he was a closet misogynist. I never saw it coming. Well, first I want to say this as clearly and compassionately as I can. What you experienced is emotional abuse, and none of it was your fault. You shared your story from a place of pain, confusion, and deep betrayal, and that takes an incredible strength, and I thank you. It's heartbreaking when the person who once held you with tenderness turns around and uses your vulnerability as ammunition. This shift from warmth and empathy to cruelty and degradation is not a reflection of who you are, but of who he really was, hidden behind the mask he wore while dating you. And once he felt secure in your marriage, that mask came off. What your husband did, shaming you for your past, weaponizing your trauma, and emotionally degrading you, is a form of manipulation and psychological violence. It's not tough love or frustration, it's control. A loving partner does not call you names, does not mock your trauma, does not turn intimacy into a punishment. His comments about your past sexual history and your abuse weren't slips or moments of anger. They were revelations of his worldview. Misogyny often hides under charm and flattery until the dynamic shifts in a relationship. You didn't miss the signs because you were foolish. You missed them because he hid them. This wasn't your failure to see, it was his decision to deceive. The truth is, you want what many women want. You trusted someone who presented themselves as kind, who said all the right things, and when he turned on you, your instincts were right. You stopped trusting him and you guarded your deeper self. That's not weakness, that's survival. Now, what you do next matters most. You deserve to be in a relationship where your past is honored, your boundaries are respected, and your voice is heard without fear. Whether you are still in this marriage or not, healing means coming back to yourself, not the version of you he tried to shame, but the whole, worthy, strong woman who lived through this abuse and still had the courage to love again. You deserve safety. You deserve peace. And most of all, you deserve truth based love that never asks you to shrink, explain, or apologize for your survival. And I thank you for the letter.